electric, Punk's fist cracking. Seth's got a death wish, hectic. Cody says, man, Punk looking hungry tonight. Jake nods, but Seth flips, guts all in a fight. Roman stomps through, Rex plans in his strut. Tribal chief with bad vibes, tearing it up. MSG crowd, stunned faces in the stand. Cody shakes his head, this again? Damn, man. Get it down, Raw's mess on replay. Jake and Cody laughing, talking our way. Roman's shadow creeping, ruins the whole play. Triple threats faded, mania calls, they say. The garden stomps through, Rex plans in his strut. Tribal chief with bad vibes, tearing it up. MSG crowd, stunned faces in the stands. Cody shakes his head, this again? Damn, man.
What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake, aka Countdown Ended, coming to you live, hopefully, once again, through the internet. Yeah, you're watching Into Somewhere Weekly. I am joined by my good friend Cody. How the hell are you, my friend? Glad to have you here.
How about you?
It's a rainy Monday. It has been a dreary day, and third world problems abound. I'm doing well. I'm alive. I'm happy. We watched a very good Raw. Not great, but good on the road to WrestleMania. Some things I want to criticize, but not destroy. Most of this, it was overly entertaining. Didn't feel like a slog to get through. When people say, like, oh, I saw immediate reactions on Twitter saying, like, oh, this is a bad Raw. And I'm like, my God, you guys really, you need to look back in hindsight. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully everybody's doing well in the chat, my friend. How are you tonight? What'd you think of Raw? What's your first immediate feedback?
I thought it was a good show, but I do see some people on Twitter going back and forth about the inconsistent decision on the rematch clause with Rhea Ripley, because now people are saying, okay, how come rematch?
That's a bit odd. Like, oh, this has a rematch clause, but we don't honor that for anybody else. By the way, thank you to everybody in the chat right now. I see Paul, I see Liz, I see the one Casey is Raw, and Coot Deluxe. Coot and I have been so long now friends from way back. I met him on Halo 2, actually. He used to play with me before my daughter was even born, like that long ago. I was sending out music before, and I was telling Paul, I was like, this recording's from 2003, you know, stuff I'm pulling up, and it's like, that recording could legally buy liquor and, you know, can't rent a car, but making me feel old over here. I got to get rid of some of the gray. We're in HD now, folks. That's right. Not only do I need you to subscribe and hit the like button, but people in the chat, check this out. I hit a button and bam, look at that. Stream Deck. Feel free to comment on what you think of the stream. How's it looking? How's it sounding? Let me know. The other day I was promoting Liz at the very end, which make sure you check out the description box down below. You can see the link to her Twitch, to obviously the best in the entire world, my good hetero life mate and work husband. I'll be his work wife. That's fine. Spaz Phoenix. You can find him on everywhere podcasts are in the links down below. And you can also find Cody's information for his Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. But I was promoting, you know, last time, trying to talk Liz up before she switched to her new game on stream. My headphones died, so I didn't know, and I'm just thinking it's quiet because I have nobody on the call. And I've got, like, hentai and anime and all that lovely stuff just blaring in the background, you know? So I usually have two different headphones on, so this way it makes my, you know, production here more tolerable. The left ear is you and whoever else I'm talking to, and the right ear is just, like, hardcore Japanese hentai, like, orgasm compilations. So I just hear, oh yeah, the whole time. Makes the stream more bearable, you know. Little tips and tricks from back in the day, but I was not taught how to stream. I am breakneck roughing this straight ahead. So let me know how it sounds, how it goes, and we'll go ahead and have ourselves a blast. You are getting me at my very finest. I'm a little bit manic and haven't slept in a few days. It's been a little rough for your guy here, but I needed this to power me through. So, yeah, I had part of your last stream playing. I thought it was hilarious because I couldn't hear it because they did. But now at least I know, like, at least every 20 minutes, if I just go ahead, I'm hardwired in, like I said, so I can hear the hentai in you. But I'm excited for some things as far as wrestling goes and kind of hesitant on others. The first thing I want to touch on, since this is Into Somewhere Weekly, Cody and I usually break down Raw, SmackDown. You know, it's the day after. But this is going to be our more immediate feedback. And the No Sleep Gang healthy energy drinks are here to go. I did enjoy this Raw. I didn't care much for SmackDown. And part of that was the main event angle. You know, CM Punk doesn't fit. I saw a great article earlier today from ProWrestling.net, and they were talking about the Roman Reigns problem that WWE has. Or does Roman have a WWE problem? Either way, if you look back at his 2024 and what he's done, you know, he lost the biggest title in the world and never demanded a rematch, never said, I'm coming right back for it. Instead, he didn't wrestle for 4 months and came back as a face without ever apologizing. It hasn't been perfect, and Roman's supposed to be in this eclectic, you know, top notch of main eventers. You look back at just the last decade alone, from WrestleMania 31 till now, at what this man main evented. I mean, he had 31, 32 with Triple H, 33 with Taker, 34 with Brock, 35 he was, I think he had, I don't remember that one. Was that Baron Corbin? No, I don't remember that year.
I think it was Drew McIntyre.
Yes, it was Drew that year. So that one he didn't main event, but 36 was the COVID Mania. 37, he did the triple threat thing. 38 was Brock. 39 and 40 with Cody. I mean, the guy has main evented just about every damn Mania. And we have them in this role where the anger, hostility, and vitriol he has at CM Punk is, you eliminated me from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I don't understand that whatsoever, because Roman Reigns doesn't understand how Royal Rumbles work now, apparently.
Apparently, like, is he supposed to walk in there and just be like, I win? Like, at one point in time, they could have done something like that with him being a prick, but it's very precariously difficult right now, because they're you know, they're on that fine line. That's what I'm saying. It's so precarious, because it could be amazing, but having pull apart brawls is not covering up for the lack of great story. And when they've been delivering pretty good stories all year long, to get to Mania and just not make it, it's like, you know, why are you passing into the end zone? You guys have the best runner in the world. We've seen this in the Super Bowls. We've seen it all before.
I
so
think, SmackDown this past week was a stinker, in my opinion.
it just wasn't great. And like I said, the motivations behind the triple threat, the pointing at the Mania sign, you know, I got it up there, and oi, oi, oi. I understand what and why they're going for, how it's going, but it's just not ideal. It doesn't make sense. It's not what Punk wanted, and he's saying that. Again, I'm not getting what I wanted. You were injured last year, but your role was perfect because it set up everything with Drew. Now it's just like, how do we get them on the card?
Well, here's what makes no sense to me about Drew, actually. How come he's not involved in this storyline? Shouldn't it be a fatal four-way then? Because Drew McIntyre spent the last few months going after everyone in the bloodline. He even confronted Solo because he didn't forget what Solo did. But now all of a sudden he has nothing to do with Roman Reigns, the top guy in the bloodline.
Yeah.
He wants to fight Damian Priest out of nowhere.
I realized they faced off before, like you said, Roman and Drew, but the rematch I would have been for, especially with face Roman now being a guy we're rooting for, and the heel that Drew has been so awesome. Yeah, I agree, Casey. If El Grande Americano was one of the highlights of this thing, this was absolutely fantastic. And you know, I got a culinary background, so saying I'm cooking is not a lie. I got gold medals in national competitions for garde-manger, you know, like where you cut fruit and make it look pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And my top placement was, no, I got a silver in garde-manger. Excuse me, I got a gold in breakfast. So.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's me, baby. I got a almost free ride to Johnson and Wales. Got the culinary, and then got the hell out of there. Went to Post to in Waterbury to get my marketing and business degree, and then I got sick. But I'm still ready to cook. I don't know where the Scottish Prince was tonight, Coot, and that's the problem. I mean, we'll talk about Raw in full, but this right here, I needed it. I needed to hear Joe Hendry. I believe. You know, if you go back years now, I truly loved the runs that he had in ICW, you know, in the Juggalo Championship Wrestling, JCW, excuse me, and in the ICW, but yeah, in the JCW, because he would just come up with these great song parodies and different entrances, and every time he had an opponent, he was making some like, you know, non-premiere, like, you know, cap cut kind of like shitty parody video but it was great. It was creative, and he was good in the ring, and he could talk. He spoke well, and he was a good heel. And then they really just, TNA had an idea with him that he was perfecting, and they came together. Just his first starting promos with him being like, you know, showing up in the hospital and everybody's sad. The dad's about to die. They say his name and he appears, and, you know, the dad dies, but everybody's okay because Hendry's there. You know, they needed that pop tonight. They didn't have Drew, and they didn't have Joe Hendry in Scotland. And what's worse than anything is that they teased it, essentially. They never advertised it, but they teased it both on TNA. They teased it on NXT, and on Twitter and other socials. They heavily kind of implied, like, oh, you never know. Whoa, look who's going to... And he's there. He's at the WWE tour for the TNA side doing, like, small promotions. They had the Chris Bay show, which was great. PUBG and Joe Hendry is doing something together. I know, he's all over the place right now, so it's great, Casey. It was upsetting. I know that's selfish of me to say, but I feel like they missed the biggest mark here and big opportunity. You still could have had Jimmy come down and had everything happen, but the fact that Hendry bomb, as I would love to call it, would have been louder than anything they gave us, even the Cody Rhodes chance, you know, and I love that. But no Drew, no Cody. I mean, that's like going to Italy and bringing a microwave pizza, maybe even a Hot Pocket. Like, not exactly a smart idea.
Yeah.
I can understand not having, you know, like Clash in the Castle where Drew didn't win. All right, he didn't win the title against Roman. I still argue that should have happened, you know? And a lot of the issues we had with Roman was him being the champion. Other people knew, like, oh, you got to wait till Mania for him to drop this. So everybody he faces is being beat. No, Cody doesn't need to lose yet, but it'd be nice to see what happens if he loses to Cena and drops the belt. Where do we go from here?
I hate how every big title change, like the main world title, needs to always change at WrestleMania. It makes no sense. It makes the other pay-per-views meaningless, kind of.
I've said it ad nauseum, I know, but that was like my favorite thing about the Attitude Era, the hot potatoing when it made sense. It wasn't to do it just to pop a rating, in the way it was, but they also had plans. Like, all right, Stone Cold's dropping the belt here, and Triple H is dropping the IC belt, and The Undertaker and Kane, you know, are going to have both titles, and, you know, this is like peak Invasion time. It still worked.
Roman's world title reign, I think of three people that probably should have beaten Roman for the title over Cody Rhodes, and those being Jay, Sammy, and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, there was three matches that it really could have happened. Number 3, I'd say Sammy in Montreal. Number 2 should have. I mean, you could have given an argument to Jimmy, but it wouldn't have been as surreal. But number 1, obviously, Jay should have. I mean, that was the whole point of him. That's how the bloodline started with the feud, because he was beating up Jimmy and he had to quit to join Roman. He wasn't, you know, acknowledging him immediately. He was defiant against Roman. He was a good guy, Jay was. I'll say this, that there's no longer an issue ever discerning which one is which. You're not going to say, are you Jimmy or are you Jay? They did a good job separating. Problem is that Jimmy fell far behind, and he's popular, he's over, but he's not quite a draw like they were as the Usos, and as you know, even in the bloodline as like that kind of enforcer role. So yeah, Stone Cold dropped the belt to Kane in a first blood match, and then Austin won the belt, the next night on Raw. And I was like, how are they going to do this? Are they going? Because Kane was going to light himself on fucking fire, Cody, on fire. He was going to go up in flames if he didn't win the title, like so many times. And you're like, oh, so Austin's not going to lose, though. It's Stone Cold. And we're going to see Kane burn himself. Great. That was amazing. And it makes an impact. And even when they were spoiling the results on WCW over on Nitro, which, funny enough, AEW is almost at a point where they're longer lasting than Nitro's been on the air. Didn't think that fact was true, but it is. I thought Nitro was on a lot longer, but no, it wasn't. So
that was the case. I thought Nitro lasted longer too, but
I know, I saw it, and people were like, yeah, no, it happened. I'm like, really? Yeah, but, I'll give you the exacts. But it was not too long, so they're slowly approaching. They started in let's see. The first show was 95, September 4th, and then they went to 26th of March, so 2 days from now, 2001. So it's like almost 7 years, but it's 6 full seasons, 288 episodes. Crazy, though, that AEW, might now outlast Nitro and WCW as we know it.
Just get ready for Tony Khan to, thank you, everybody, thank you.
Yeah, he'll come out to that one. He'll be like, thank you. Except that's a Tony Khan. So we'll get into Raw, but anything else from SmackDown? I know we kind of just glazed over it saying it wasn't great, but it really was not great.
It looks like I don't know, SmackDown. I can't even remember.
That's the thing. So I'm going to pull it back up so we can go through the card really, really quick. But there was a few things that I did want to bring up. So the pull-apart brawl, Punk being involved makes no sense. And I mean, it's not terribly ridiculous where you're like, oh, entirely this is stupid. But it's just there's many better opportunities for him at this point. And
Seth should have won the steel cage match clean. Roman should have faced Drew McIntyre, and CM Punk and Seth Rollins should have had a grudge match at Mania.
Nailed it. That should have been the third, or Seth and Roman face off, and you could have had Punk obviously added initially at one point because he should be pissed at Cena. Cena took advantage of Seth's curb stomp, and now he just kind of forgot about John, forgot about the title, and he's going after 2/3 of the Shield. So not a overwhelmingly like positive feeling through all of that. And
the Roman and CM Punk issue seems forced because they really had no real issue because CM Punk helped Roman at War Games, and all it was about because Roman got eliminated by him.
Yeah. The opening was good with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. They had a good back and forth. He said, instead of fight Owens fight, it's going to be bitch Owens bitch. That's all we heard from you. A couple of good lines. Randy Orton's been a ton of fun. That was okay.
I think Randy Orton is underrated on the mic. People don't give him the credit he deserves. I think
he's gotten a lot better. He used to be very slow and plodding, but he's got a certain cadence, which is fine. But he's found a way to like kind of maximize what he says by not dragging it on as long as he used to. He used to be very drawn out, at least in my opinion.
Someone that's really improved on the mic, if we're talking about improvements, I think Roman Reigns is one of the biggest improvements on the mic. Out of anyone.
Oh, think back to when John Cena, excuse me, goddamn crap it is, when John Cena came out and buried him. Hey, kid, that's a promo. You got to learn to cut one eventually. What was that, 2017?
Yeah.
Suffering Succotash. Oh, he was garbage.
God.
The problem was, too, like everybody and their mother online, JD used to scream it from the rooftops. I remember calling into the WrestleMania 31 preview and predictions on JD's show, and he went ahead and he was like, I asked him a question, and I'm like, who do you think is going to be or should be the biggest heel coming out of WrestleMania? And he was like, Roman Reigns. If they turn him now, the crowd already boos the shit out of him. They won't be able to hijack everything. This will be perfect. Let him win, but let him cheat to win. He had it all laid out, and I agreed. I didn't see it then, but I'm like, all right. And I know people. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Don't ever apologize. I ramble too much. Like I said, just talk over me. We'll figure out the rest later.
Yes, sir. JD ended up being right about his take on Roman, but it happened years later.
Yeah, and he's been right quite a few times, but people are, again, he does get attacked a lot. Warranted. That's for you, everybody else to decide. I'm just stating facts as it was said. But
JD has wrestling opinions. He is knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about. His issue is like he's allowed to critique, but if people critique him, and then it's an issue.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the thing. I still go ahead and I laugh at there's a meme account, and I almost didn't want to retweet it because it's at 666 exact retweets, repost, re-X's, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a great little, it says, you see Punk and Cody laughing together, and Cody says, I feared for my life, and they're just laughing about the story. So it's the fact that Punk brought that up tonight, saying I still work with children, chef's kiss to him on that one.
Wait, Cody Rhodes said I feared for my life?
No. Tonight they were making a joke about Punk and Cody on Twitter, but no, Punk did bring it up tonight in his promo. He said, "I still work with children,"
That's
and
great.
yeah, that line popped me big because I work with fucking children. I'm old. I'm tired. We saw how that press conference worked. I think the only difference was he didn't have any Mindy's muffins this time around to superpower his explosive rage. I think that's like the Hulk for him. Instead of being angry, he's always angry. It's just you give that man a muffin from Mindy's and he goes ape shit. So
People are saying, like, I still see people discuss about that. If Vince was in there, he would have cut that stuff down. I think Vince is like a shit stirrer. I think he would have loved to hear
yeah,
him rant. And then
absolutely.
Vince would have actually made something out of it instead of, let's not let anyone talk to each other. Vince would have made it work together.
Absolutely. It would have been like, hey, listen, this is how it goes. This is how it works. We need to do business for business sake. And we've seen it happen many times now. We had Randy Orton and CM Punk come back together and talk about how, hey, all those issues we had, I talked about you behind your back and you were mad at me for, laying in a move and you said it was fine, but really it was an issue. And what did they do? They laughed about it. They made jokes and they grew up. And Punk goes ahead and says, I'm more like your husband, Stephanie. We heard him say that tonight than we both want to admit, but it seems to be true. And I can't help but just love the guy. And he's been so supportive, obviously, of NXT, of TNA people. He did a bunch of shit to help out Chris Bay. He auctioned things for free. Like, he gave Chris all this stuff. He even called Chris right after his terrible injury, his broken neck, and then his paralysis diagnosis. They're like, you probably have a 25% chance to walk again. And he was really, obviously, how are you going to take that? I've been there. It's a horrible thing. I know how emotionally hard hearing bad news from the medical field is. And given that kind of a whirlwind of emotion all of a sudden, so Punk was like, yeah, that's your diagnosis. Those numbers, though, they're not for you because you're not human. Those are for regular humans. You're superhuman. You have pushed and preserved and just managed to claw your way through everything in life. You have persevered what you pursued. And that short little, you're not human, you're superhuman, you can do it, gave him enough mental motivation. And that he said, that's not the only thing, but that's one of the things he credits to his health improving and being able to walk again and get out of his hospital bed. I don't know about wrestling, but just the fact that he's doing that well and can get up and move around is amazing. So
That's scary to even hear. I couldn't even imagine hearing something like that about 25% chance of even walking again.
Not to bring anything down, but I always find it humorous too. Being on high dose of painkillers, it makes you severely constipated. So I spent, when I was first diagnosed, it's like 19 years ago at this time, but I spent a good majority of my day in the bathroom at first when I was on the really high doses of dilaudid IV in my port. And I was trying at that time to get brain surgery. I'd lost all the weight. I was like just around 200 pounds at that point and needed the surgery, but no one wanted to do it for various reasons. And when they had called me, they're like, we need to have you come in and set up a living will. And, they were going to make my grandmother power of attorney. But there I am on the toilet. And they're like, we're going to go over more. But they were basically giving me a month left to live. And I'm on the shitter. I'm like, can I just wipe and call you back? Or no? All right. But so the fact that he's doing this well this soon not only gives me a lot of hope, but just is an amazing feat all on its own. Awful injury. I was talking about it earlier. My neck is terrible. It's awful. My I don't know if I can't find. I'm trying to. It's not on my chart because it was done differently. But my most recent X-rays. I told you when I went back. I think it was September or October, and the radiologist was like, "Where's the paralyzed person that's here for the X-rays?" And I'm like, "No, that's me." And they just could not believe that that was the case there. It was a hell of a thing, that's for sure. But my neck is fused from C1 all the way to the fifth vertebrae. So C1, 2, 3, and 4 are all fused. I have that missing skull in the back. They took out all my occipital bone in that area to make a titanium mesh net, and it saved my life. I'll say that much. So. Craziness. I can't find the new X-ray that looks even worse. This one's from a couple, like 2 years back, I think. But still, So for him to get that diagnosis and conquer it and find a way to be better is incredible. And I really hope that he finds a way to, get better and just keep improving. And maybe, hopefully, he'll find a way to be able to get back in the ring. And it's just it was a sad state of affairs, and to hear him, on the interview go ahead and say, hey, these are the positives, and that's what's going on. You can see, you can see here my neck up top, it has like that chunk missing out of the first vertebrae. That's where all the fusion is. And then I'm leaning backwards, but it looks like my neck is leaning forward still because my spine is going, it's called a loss of lordosis. It inverted, goes the wrong way. So pretty crazy, but it looks like I'm leaning forward, but really I'm looking back because it makes the spine do this. So your bottom here inverts and then the top is all together. So yeah, that's why I hurt like a son of a bitch all the time. But speaking of being in pain, I was blown away on SmackDown for one thing. I'll give them a positive there. I was happy with how the tag match was pretty damn entertaining. So they had Priest and Uso versus McIntyre and Nakamura. It was a good use of Nakamura at this time after losing the belt. And they made, Priest hit Nakamura, they pinned him, but it was the after with the attack from Drew and everything that happened and getting the Claymore kick. And then he hovers over Priest and he's like, whenever you get up, I'm going to put you down. And Drew's so intense and so just, badass in the best way possible. So I really enjoyed that.
Drew needs to win at Mania against Damian Priest. I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely. Especially after losing to Punk in the Hell in a Cell. And how everything's played out since,
fucking pull-ups going on and on and on.
I liked the Piper Niven and Zelina Vega match. Some people were upset that it went as long as it did, but I thought it was good. It's putting over the secret Shervis or Hervis, whatever they're calling it. I love that. I like that they added Alba, and Chelsea needs to be the media personality of the year. So
Chelsea Green is fucking phenomenal at what she does, like the caring.
Yeah, she knows, again, like Nick Aldis always says, maximizing your minutes. She knows how to do that. Even whether she's given a second or an hour, she just gives it her all. And that girl has taken many ass whoopings, too, on the physical side of it, and she is one tough character. I give her a lot of credit. She used to have intergender matches where the guys were hitting her 10 times as hard, like being dicks. And not only would she take it, just like Candice, LeRae, but she would also dish it out. And not that you need to be like, oh, I'm more physically dominant, but she didn't back down ever. She stood up to the, I don't want to say inequality, but like the gender difference, and she made a name for herself. Look at Lucha Underground. If you ever watched her there, she put on some great performances and had no problem getting her ass kicked by Penta. So, I didn't care for the Jade Cargill little bit that they're playing in with there. Again, Bianca going for the main title on the other show.
I'm surprised they had Jade Cargill get pinned, by the way, speaking about her.
So that was the next thing. A lot of people, Sith agrees that, Liv beating Jade just shows that they're really not about her. And I can't fully disagree. A loss is not the worst thing here. That's not directly what's the burial. It's the point of why even have Liv and Raquel be an issue. I understand Naomi screwed her over and that's why she lost. And you don't want to beat the tag champs. Well, have Jade face someone else then. She didn't need to face either of them. She should be done with Liv and Raquel because they didn't attack her, and that should be all there is. Basically, Naomi cost her the match, but why? She already knows that she wants to face her at Mania. Jade wants to rip her head off and kill her still. So why did they need to have her ruin the match? We already have the reason for them to face and fight. So I don't know. Just her being roughed up by Jade again and again and again. It's like, what are we going to have left for Mania? By the time we get there, we already saw her get her hands on her. She shouldn't have touched her past the first time. So we want that desire to see her get her ass whipped more. The tag champ match was okay, but nothing special. And then the pull-apart brawl, like I said, was long, but not in a good way. The Seth chant went on far too long. And Punk being involved, yeah.
CM Punk called him Grimace, which was...
Yes, the Grimace line was excellent.
I know a thing or two about Grimace watching the Mets games over and over. They made that part of the thing. They had Grimace now we're talking baseball, throw out the first pitch, and then they went on this big winning streak. Said they were like called the Grimace Mets and had like purple.
Nice. Hopefully they got a big field goal. But I went ahead and I agree. I watched the SmackDown, pull apart brawl first because time, refrainments and all that, and I watched SmackDown the next day. And again, the Seth, all of his whining went on for a long time with the crowd chants. Roman was out there, and then they had cut to commercial, did a bunch of other stuff, then went back to him. And what he was saying was okay, but knowing how they're trying to include Punk, again, it made Roman look silly. And Seth pointing to the sign after Punk did, like it's already happened. And the pull apart was okay, but I hope they can find a way to make me more interested. They're leaning on the Paul Heyman stuff. And I guess, do you have any more thoughts on SmackDown? We'll just get right into the Raw review as we're hanging out here for Into Somewhere Weekly.
Not really about SmackDown, but with the CM Punk stuff, I am interested about what him and Paul Heyman's favor to him is going to be, because that's the second time now where Paul Heyman had some sort of interaction with CM Punk, and Roman had like this confused, disgusted look on him and looking back at Paul.
Yeah.
So,
and Punk could be lying, but Roman's so insecure and unsure that little bit of just influence is enough to make Roman become anxious and letting his anxiety boil into rage, and he makes bad decisions. He ends up fucking up and hurting people, and I don't mean just physically either. I'm saying, he's left a lot of damage in his wake with his family, being the Usos and shit. Yeah, absolutely. So,
all right, I'll fill me in on what you're talking about when I come back.
I will. I'll let you know. So we go ahead and, seeing him basically make a stab at like, oh, I need to go ahead and be. Don't you want to go for your rematch at the title? Okay, you didn't get that, but where's the drive? Where's the oomph to it? So I don't know. SmackDown was like a 6, especially the overseas show. I'm like, you guys wasted one of these great crowds. I saw on X, Twitter, I'll forever call it Twitter, a lot of people were pushing for Raw to be moved overseas. And I'm like, I get why you're saying it, but what'll happen is the same thing that happens over here in the United States. They'll get used to it. We're very spoiled as far as wrestling goes here, with having the WWE being a United States centered or centric, company, project, all of it, TKO, UFC. We can go see wrestling at any point in time in the United States, pretty much everywhere, but not just WWE, but, we have lots of it. WWE going over there, supply and demand, that's what makes it a great deal. Here, they're selling out, no doubt, but the prices, as I've complained about before, are extremely unfair and unjust. Some of the stuff they're charging is sickening. And then on top of it, you see this, the crowds are better in the UK. Well, that's because they're excited. They don't get to experience it often. Like we said, supply and demand, they're going nuts because it's that FOMO for so long. They have missed out, never mind fearing for it. So now's their chance to make themselves known and heard and to bellow some stuff out. They had these chants. I loved it. They're so loud, so just passionate. And both SmackDown and the, Raw tonight, it's, I wish they gave these crowds just a little bit more, personally. Again, really a great, overall setup for Mania in the sense of like the card is building, and I think Mania is going to be a damn good show regardless. And it's not all like, oh, the matches will be good, I'm sure, but it's like the stories we're getting, the reason to care, and that's kind of the thing. I'm a very big proponent, fan, supporter, Will Ospreay. I've enjoyed him for a long time. I'm obviously not so much into the theatrics and the grand, choice of him to follow the Japanese strong style and the forearms and all that stuff, but he's a hell of an athlete. He's great at what he does. He's very impressive. And unfortunately, you had him against like AR Fox. Well, I really enjoy him, but he's going to win. What's the point? What's the hook? What's the draw? We got the Blues Traveler thing. If you got the hook, you can sink it, but you got to get people to bite into something, to care. Liz said Cody Rhodes, and that was one of her favorite parts. Casey said that the Cena heel promo was a highlight for him. So right off the bat, we go ahead and we are live 4 p.m. on the eastern side in Glasgow, Scotland, at the
My bad.
OVO Hydro.
My bad.
You're fine, my friend. We're literally just starting on the Raw side of things. So they were live on Netflix the 24th of March. Again, I'm going to give you my little spiel. My name's Jake. Thank you for joining the channel. Subscribe down below, hit the like button, hit the bell, because we'll be going live for more stuff, not just throughout the week, but the whole build-up for WrestleMania. NXT review coming at you live tomorrow night as well. Stay tuned for more details about that, because there might be a couple of cool announcements of things coming up that I hope I can reveal. If I get the green light, it's going to be impressive. And also, you can go ahead and check me out on Rumble, on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to go ahead and find us. I guest host on the State of Wrestling podcast on the Spaz Phoenix YouTube channel. And in the description box down below, you can find all of his links and info down there as well. So thank you to Spaz for, he's been hosting me on his channel for about a decade now. Realistically, I look back and I'm like, wow, you asked me Black and Gold time NXT to join in with you. Because I was his NXT guy, because most people weren't talking about NXT at that point. And, even with all my other Showtime commitments, I still found time when I was alive and breathing and not being turned into more robot than man to hang out. And we've been recording. So it's really cool to see like the evolution of things. I'm trying to put a lot into this. I wanted to focus on myself with my health and things being so precariously difficult. I'm very limited and I don't get out much in society. So it's good to have this personal connection with some really great people. I enjoy thoroughly talking to all you guys in the chat and on the streams. And when we meet new people, it's great to have that sense of not just community, but camaraderie. And it's certainly something that I've been missing. So I really appreciate you guys. As you saw, there's no donate link. There is no Patreon. I just want to hang out and enjoy things. And speaking of which, that'll be one of the announcements possibly tomorrow with NXT. So there might be some big things coming in the next few weeks.
All the people in my chats, sorry to burst your bubble. Those are all my other fake accounts.
Oh, damn it. If you could just not bot us again, we could go ahead and actually get some pizzazz. No, I don't have TikTok. I'm getting TikTok so I could start chopping shit up and putting it on TikTok. My wise social media manager, she's very expensive. I found her, funny enough, right door next to my bedroom. She's very experienced on social media handling. So, no, I'm going to see. Danny came up to me and she was like, why the F are you not on TikTok? She's like, really, even Liz had a short earlier that instantly got almost, I think, around 500 views. And I was like, yeah, I really should do, short form and then find a way to upload like this reviews the long term. And one of the benefits is I just picked myself up this mixer from Elgato. That's great. So now I can do the cool stuff and not just have like a soundboard, but there was a terrible echo. But I'm absolutely going to go ahead and learn all this new equipment. I've got to learn how to use it. But the possibilities are endless. I'm going to mute myself. I dropped a few N-bombs there. Nobody was any of the wiser. Just being funny. But so I really appreciate everybody's patience and willingness to allow me to fuck up, apologize, and then make it better. But all joking aside, I mean, I look back at one of the first streams I did with Spaz in the last, like 6 months or so. We came back when the NXT CW debut happened. And I was like, oh, shit, son, look at that. It looks like garbage, and it sounded not so great, and not like anything on us, just the way it was set up, and it's like, look at all the extra stuff. We got Spaz's thing there, and so now that I have all these old scenes and things that I haven't progressed through, it's just like, hey, I'm learning and I'm figuring stuff out. I'm getting there. So I've got to listen to the minion. They do know things. Coot's right. So as I said, we get into Raw tonight from Scotland. They're in Glasgow, and right away they send out the heel himself, John Cena. He comes out right away, huge John Cena sucks chants. he does his whole shtick, but just at a very slow pace. He does the salute kind of, solo face where usually he would run and he still shows the towel, but it's not like I'm a good guy. It's just there's a towel, no more. Fuck you all. Gets to the ring, lays down the towel. That's important later. And he goes ahead and says, "Is something on your mind? It seems like you have something you want to say to me." This crowd lit him up. Fuck you, Cena. Loved it. Loved it.
Got to get more of that.
Absolutely. So they're hounding on him. Fuck you, Cena. Going nuts. And I don't understand. Sidebar, Your Honor. Question. Why are they censoring this?
I don't understand why they're censoring it, though, because they let more than half of the F-bombs go through. So if you're going to let some F-bombs go through,
yeah.
all of them.
And I know it's like, okay, we tried and you made an effort, but why at all do the censoring when, one, it's on Netflix, two, it's not the characters saying, it's the audience. And we just heard Cody say, "Go fuck yourself" to The Rock, obviously. I can understand, like, Zelina Vega had an issue with the wardrobe malfunction. You don't want your star to have their nip slip or lip slip, whatever you want to call it, nip or lip. It could be a butt slip too. You might see some a-hole. And if that's not bleached, that's a very, very embarrassing brown eye. So she had something going on with her malfunctioning apparel, and they had to go to a black screen. That I get. You're protecting somebody. If my micro penis was out, I'd be like, God damn it, they couldn't see it anyways. But in HD, you never know. I'm blaming the lack of testosterone injections right now. But well, that's what I tell the wife anyway. Work husband gets it. But they just ripped John Cena apart, and the fans, he's like, "Oh, you guys, you're predictable. You're the laden profanity chants and everything. You guys are predictable. I made fun of a kid and you all ate it up." And he's basically just saying there's 25 years of abuse, and now we got even more shut the fuck up chants, not just fuck you, Cena. And a real shut the fuck. Dun, 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 shut the dun, dun. And they tried. There was an effort to try and censor it. So
Didn't
John...
Yeah, no, my bad to cut you off again, but didn't Triple H say about this whole, there's going to be less censorship on Netflix when they get there? And
that's what I was confused on, Cody. Like, that's what I'm not, like, behind. It's very, it's very just confusing, and I don't know. I just don't know. Why? You're on Netflix. You have the pass. You can go as long as you want. Oh, well, last week, John Cena's promo went too long. You guys still ended in, like, the under 3 hour mark. Wait, like, it was like 2 hours, 40 minutes.
Time constraints, but they follow like they do, like 2 hours and 30 minutes every week.
I understand, like, if you have times for the arenas and, like, oh, we have to do certain things. That's all well and good, and more energy drinks. I'm really off my rocker now, so I apologize. You're in for a good one, friend. I had to wait for all my medicine to arrive, and once my dealer brought all that crack, I was like level. So,
do they really have time constraints with the arenas?
With arenas? Yeah, sometimes overseas and here there are curfews. Couldn't think of the word. Sorry. Yeah, like noise ordinances and curfews. And I remember somebody said online that, that arena has to be done by whatever set time. So regardless, they're still censoring things that I feel is a bit ridiculous and unnecessary. It's just kind of how it is at this point in time.
If you're going to let Cody Rhodes say, "Go fuck yourself," without it being censored, then we can deal with the crowd chanting, "fuck you." Crowd.
Exactly. And that was, one of the things that just baffled me. You guys have this amazing deal right now where you can go ahead and do whatever you like as long as you like. At least that's how we were sold this bill of goods. And instead, that's really not what we've been given. So I'm hoping that, hey, the more they learn, adjust, whatnot, they can kind of have more free reign. But it felt very limiting, and that's not great. So John says, I gave you the spinner belt. I did everything for you people, and all I got was hate, vitriol, disrespect, and bitching. He said, I brought you the real championship. I served it, right here like revenge is cold, and here you go. And you guys, I'm going to take out Ric Flair's record, and I'm going to rip your heart out, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And then Cody comes out to a great raucous ovation.
It's funny though that they had John Cena complaining that the fans made fun of the spinner belt, because so was the guy that he's aligned with also made fun of it and replaced it because it spun.
Yes. Right? Funny how that worked. So we go ahead and we hear, what did you say, Cody? And then the crowd, as we mentioned before, just going nuts the entire time. And he's soaking it in. He's like, didn't you say that you were going to take this away from them? Don't you have to take it away from me first? Don't you have to, and John ends up getting, proposed a challenge. Cody's like, let's do this now. John backs up, gets out of the ring, gets booed. Cody calls him again. Finally, Cena turns around, and John just shakes his head like, I'm not doing this. Cody's like, hey, we can all see you, and the fans understand that this psychotic bullshit needs to end, and the belt does not outweigh the right to keep it. So he's like, the champ is no longer standing there. The champ's right here in the center of this ring. Here I am, and fuck you, I'll see you at Mania. Was it entertaining? Absolutely. The crowd made it entertaining. Was it good? I don't know.
I think that Cena needs to say something to Cody Rhodes at this point. I don't know. But are they afraid that John Cena will destroy him on the mic?
I don't think Cody's going to be destroyed by Cena, honestly. Universal in chat made it he said that the heel turn needs to stop now. This has been embarrassing and horribly written. None of us want this. It could have been awesome. I don't think it's horrible, but I think we're missing some key points here that they haven't given us. We don't know why John really did this. In the grand scheme, we get, okay, you were tired of the fans, but for 20 plus years, you have touted hustle, loyalty, and respect. You have gone out of your way to say that no matter what the reaction is, it's a reaction. And so long as I'm garnering a reaction, then it's worthwhile. So for him to suddenly flip on his laurels and morals, it's a bit just confounding and confusing. I am perplexed. I have a hard time fathoming why he's, taking the leap with The Rock. I had mentioned to you and others previously, like, oh, they're basically the same now. John trashed Rock for leaving, going to Hollywood, and then hypocritically, John did the same. So they still haven't explained now, 4 weeks out, essentially, why he aligned himself with The Rock and Travis Scott. And what they've given us has just been more of this you people. We haven't gotten a promo battle between them two. And yes, I know there's a month to go. We've got several weeks, but this was not it. The crowd is eating it up. Thankfully, they gave a ton of energy, so it felt a bit larger. But if this was the U.S. crowd, people would have been rather silent. I mean, they would have booed Cena, but it wouldn't have been that continual just raucous hate that he got, because the overseas crowd really did a great job. But why did you sell your soul to the devil, and why is The Rock the devil offering to buy people's souls? What did you get out of it? Because you won the chamber on your own. I mean, you took advantage of Seth. You capitalized on Seth enacting revenge, but why sell your soul to The Rock? You had everything. You have the millions of followers and the career. You're already in Hollywood. So I really hope they touch on the psychology behind John is so obsessed about that next win, about his legacy, so infatuated with destroying Flair and making his name hold in history forever. It's nonsensical. I agree, Universal. And Nick B says, hopefully when they get back to the States, we'll get The Rock and Cena together. That's the thing, too. I know Rock has prior engagements, and traveling for him right now is difficult with all this overseas stuff. So then don't set it up this way. There's so many ways that would be better. And I don't want to be, again, the armchair booker and be like, oh, this is crazy. But John's heel turn was one of the biggest viral moments for WWE in God knows how long. I at the time thought it could be bigger than Hogan's heel turn, and so far that's just not quite what it's done. I know Hogan's changed the business, but Hogan's was essentially out of desperation. He wasn't the plan. It wasn't intended for him. It was, hey, it was going to be Sting as a third man, and I am not being cheered. They have taken every person possible, turned them into a heel, and fed them to me. And, you know, the Legion and of Doom that they created down there, and all the other idiot, you know, heels that they amassed just so Hogan could beat them all. Zeus and, you know, the Yeti and all that bullshit. You know, the good old Dungeon and Legion of Doom assholes. What do we get out of, you know, Kevin Sullivan going nuts? We get a dead Benoit and Nancy because he pushed them together. But really, what do we get? Not a lot. So it could have been this really life-altering moment for WWE. And I just don't feel like they've fully, captured or encapsulated on this moment. They're missing here. Just having Cena be like, you people fucked up by not loving me as much as I have tried to love you. You know, it's been toxic. That works once. But having Cody cut multiple promos and, you know, all these things, just like my intro says at the very end, it's like, damn, man, this again? That's what Cody says. And that's the truth, because it's kind of a rinse and repeat thing with everybody we've seen. Now, a lot of the stories for Cody's title reign so far have been good, but he hasn't had many great moments with the title either. Him and Owens was standout. He's had really, really good matches, but I don't feel he's had that 10 out of 10 feud moment, whatever yet. And this could be it, but they really need a more evil Cena to come out here, and we need to know more of, you know, the motivations behind his willingness to sell his soul to The Rock.
He hasn't brought up The Rock, so
they haven't mentioned him. You know, it's like Voldemort, persona non grata. It's more than me jumping around names trying not to talk about shit. I mean, there's leaps of bounds, and they're taking these steps. It's not happening, and I want to see them succeed.
I don't know what's going on, but time's a ticking. They need to pick up the pace here.
Absolutely.
And why hasn't Cody Rhodes logically decked his ass yet? I don't care about this traditional baby face. I love you. Like he's Barney the dinosaur out there. He needs to go beat
another grimace. Yeah.
Yeah.
You made a great point, and I'm so glad you did, because I forgot. I wanted to bring this up earlier. I had mentioned it to you, you know, over the good old phones, the messengers. And we basically came down to the same agreement that why I know if my eardrum was busted, yeah, it was Travis Scott, but still, John orchestrated, or at least took part in a gangland whooping, and they just missed a sock with some soap in it. They needed to. Cody should be at like a fever pitch, so angry and wanting revenge, and then he comes out, and instead he's like, oh, you're not a good guy. You're not the one I wanted to face. My dream was to face the real good guy, John Cena. But Cody should be like, you fucked me up. I thought you had my back because I had yours. I thought we were brothers. I thought this meant something to you. And you stabbed me in the back. You broke my heart, and you laid it out in front of 80,000, whatever it was for the chamber, people, and you left me for dead when all I have ever done is support you and love you. But instead we get, I don't want to face you. You're not the real Cena. I can see you, and you're a bitch, and, you know, the little things to pop. Cody can cut better than this. I want to see all the passion that the crowd's giving us. Make it matter. Make it matter, please. And I don't feel like I said, I'm not hating, but the Cena thing,
it doesn't really pop me, because every wrestler like I've ever experienced in my life of watching wrestling has called someone a bitch.
Yeah, and even more so, especially lately, we've gotten heavy amounts of you people. The one that really drove me nuts about it was Edge. So when he switched for the Judgment Day and turned heel and started to form that, and it made no sense because the fans were just loving him up and you know, giving him all this support, and now it's like, oh well, I guess it doesn't really, you know, doesn't matter much, and so it's just it doesn't make sense. It's not a great thing so far.
Ends up working out, but like it's like he doesn't know how to be a heel sometimes, so he goes for like the cheap, all of you people.
Yeah,
it's over and over. they're good promos, but he's hitting the most generic points, like
Generic
insult
is
the
a
crowd.
great way to, and something happened. Casey said, "Do what?" I mean, do it. Yeah, went ahead and deleted some messages. That's all right. Hey, we can as long as there's no problems, then we're good.
What happened?
No, I'm just moderating the chat, making sure everybody's good. I thought there was an issue, but
Deleted one of my.
No, we're good now. We're somebody could be. I did butt dial 911 recently when I got my new phone replaced because my other one was so old and broken, my Galaxy phone there, that when the messenger would come up, it would show the chat head, but when you clicked on it, it would all just be black in the square, and you would have to wait 30, 45 seconds, and then eventually it would load. But whatever you typed or did try to put in, it would just go ahead and be like, I'm not going to send that. So you would send messages, and then it just sometimes like it wouldn't go through. But on my end, it looked like it did, and it wouldn't say that it failed. And what a nightmare. So
Talking to 911, did they end up?
they were cool about it. I eventually I had all the times I always have my headphones in. I had just taken them out, and I put my phone in my back pocket. And I changed it now, but when it comes, it has that emergency on the bottom, I guess, of the home screen, the lock screen. So if you go ahead and you swipe, it'll give you like an SOS mode for emergency calls. This way you could still call 911 if the phone's locked. So my formerly fat ass went ahead and yeah, I hear it from my pocket going like, rah, 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 and I'm like, I thought someone was playing, and I'm like, hello? And she's like, do you need help? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And they were like, oh, that's okay, just be careful. And they hung up, thankfully. So
It was one of Cody's other phones.
I was gonna say, was it you trying to go ahead and hack my stuff? But
it must have been me too. I mean, I wouldn't put it past myself.
You are you tricky bastard. I forget what movie was that. Sir, did you grab my ass from here? That's a physical impossibility.
I remember that.
You tricky. What was that? Rush Hour, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think that's where it's from. I remember that line.
I vaguely remember it. But yeah. No, Casey's always good at moderating. He's just like me, all thumbs and.
But Casey, one of my, fake accounts that I go in and troll people with.
I know you got a few of them there. That's why I was laughing. It's like, hey, we see what happens. But I want more from the Cena side of things. You know it. I know it. We've said it. It's happened. It's not bad. It's not great. And that's the thing. This is such a momentous, massive, surprising thing that it should be great. It should be unbelievable. Every week we should be like, that's the best promo battle I've ever heard. And then next week they can top it because Cody's great on the mic and so is John. But what they're basically having them say, it's not working for me. And I don't know what they're trying to accomplish or what they're, not that I don't know, but I don't know why they're doing it that way. I failed to see the vision, and I'm hoping that when they get back shortly, there will be enough time for them to basically rehab this angle. When we get The Rock and Cena and Cody and possibly Scott all in the same ring to mouth off to each other, that's going to be great. I don't know why they have not gone ahead, though, and had Cena just get his ass at least a little beat. I know they're trying to tease you and save it. I know.
When are they gonna let everything? It still doesn't feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania yet.
With this one, yeah. With everything else that is working, you have Gunther and Jay, which isn't great, and just a lot of these back and forth things that we're not loving. And like I said, Mania is looking good. It's going to be a really great time. But so far, some of these things are just not ideal.
They need to pick up the storylines because match-wise, it looks like there's a lot of great matches that we're going to get. And it could be a great Mania again, but I don't know where.
Yeah, the card will certainly be great. I mean, we had that fan edit that was pretty much as close to what confirmed looks like. And just throwing that up really quick, I mean, Cena and Cody, the triple threat. Tiffany and Charlotte, I'm thinking Charlotte wins, but I'm not crazy about it. Orton and Kevin is good. Jade and Naomi is a skip for me. Logan, AJ, great. The IC, great. Tag, great. I don't know where they have the Raw tag team titles, but them boys need to get some action. Women's tag, I hope that's on Stand and Deliver instead. But, Bailey, obviously we talked about Drew, but then again, now we got Rhea. That triple threat I'm not crazed about. It should just be Io and Rhea. They shouldn't have had Io lose the belt. She should have won it on, at Mania and taken it from Rhea then. I think that would have been better. And Fatu against Solo. Not crazy about the match, but Jacob Fatu at Mania, that'll be fun. And then obviously Gunther and Jay. So, I mean, some of them, it's going to be a good show. The wrestling itself is going to be great. I just want to know, hey, what are they going to do to make it memorable? And coming off of what we got last year, the culmination of a multi-year tale that involved so many people and so many angles and such a wealth of history, and he was doing what his father couldn't. He was getting the belt that his dad got screwed over for. The dusty finish for Dusty Rhodes no longer haunted him, and I know they're trying, but I really hope they give us just a few things more. Liz, thank you for still hanging out. I know you'll be live on Twitch soon. I'll be stopping in there later on as well, but I really do appreciate you hanging out with us and, just always in the chat. I really appreciate everybody's support, and I can't say it enough. That's for damn sure. So thank you guys. Anybody new, make sure you subscribe or hit the follow if you're on the Rumble side. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and say hello as well. And let us know what you're thinking of Raw overall. Out of 10, what would you give it? I know I saw a couple of 7s and 6s before, but, we'll see how it turns out. So, all in all, again, like I said, the Cena thing, not the best, not the worst, but you didn't mention The Rock. We already got this promo before, and it's like they're leaving out too much of the story for me to really be excited. So, hopefully we get more from it.
I think for that anyway, yeah. I'm just hoping that everything just gets picked up soon.
Yeah. So we got Jey Uso coming out next. He's going to have a surprise partner, and I really just bit into the fact that it would be Joe Hendry.
I was hoping it was going to be Joe Hendry. I was hoping I was wrong on my prediction. I think I spoke it into existence, unfortunately.
I know, and I want to kill you about it, but I won't do so in Minecraft. Just gotta.
All right, I was one of their writers that they had too. That was me too.
You see, God, all these fake accounts. Now you're working for creative. No, you did say it's going to be Jimmy, and I was like, you're kind of going to be right, probably, but the fan in me, I wanted the pop, the reaction. I don't know why. He's there. It's not like they had to fly him out just for this one night or one show. Hendry's already over there doing a separate tour.
That would make no sense. They should have had him there. That would have been a moment, a surprise partner. That just falling for it. And that's WWE's fault, because I saw people saying, I wish it was Hendry. That's WWE, because you do not do, we're going to have a mystery partner for Jay in Scotland, out of all places. Not expect who else.
Exactly. Say his name, he appears, and I was just heartbroken. I'm like, how do you not? Oh God, I wanted to hear it, and it didn't happen. So they did it in a way too, which was kind of a little bit underwhelming, because they had Jay walking out, and it's like, and Jimmy, and he just kind of pops out behind him, and I was like, oh, so they didn't even milk it to give you a good pop, and hey, I think the fans would have went more nuts if they didn't see him, and that's.
Milk it, and just by entrances, you have to have A-Town Down Under come out first, because
exactly. So they did it backwards.
I didn't like that whole thing, and I get cool, the Usos are there, but you could say that that should be saved up for a bigger moment, because I don't think they've tagged yet since they broke up, right? 2-on-2. I know they tagged Roman, but not 2-on-2.
Yeah, I don't think they. I'm sure someone in the chat might know and tell us we're crazy, but realistically, I can't recall them just being 1-to-1 and not having
Roman and
just them as a tag team. I think each one it's been with other people, so I think you're right, but we'll see what comes of it. So
that needed to be saved for a bigger moment. The Usos reuniting, not just for a random Raw episode. I'm sorry, but I was thinking it was going to be them because knowing WWE 101, but thinking about it, you need to have, just build up for a
A
better.
big moment. It's overseas. It's you're in Scotland. You're never there. Like, this is massive. No Drew. No, like Coot said, no Drew. None of them beautiful Scots. They could have done a really like great service for the fans. Fan service is what I'm trying to say. And I don't know. And the match was really not stellar either, sadly.
Did Jey Uso actually slip, or was that a scripted botch?
I'm not sure. I was actually going to bring that up to you because he had, like, it was a little weird, and so first off, they start off and most of their entrance for A-Town, down under was during the commercial anyways that they had. So these guys really got nothing. And we saw them attack on the outside, and they're trying to go through the table for the broadcast side, and the commentary team is trying to make more of it. And all of a sudden, Jimmy gets a big super kick and goes for a near fall, and then that's when Grayson Waller makes a blind tag, and he ends up getting his own, quick count. It was like, oh, near fall again. So I was like, oh, they're building up to the hot tag. They're building up to, Jay's going to get back in, and Jay gets away from Jimmy's going to tag in for the hot tag. So Jay gets away from the elbow. He tags in Jimmy and hits him with a big Samoan drop, and that's when he gets up on the ropes. But he got taken down. He gets crotched, and he gets a big super kick, and hey, look at that! They hit the 1D, and Jay pins Theory for a quick little tag out, and it was like, where was the bigger moment there? Like, you guys just both sides tagged out, and then Jimmy brought him up, and they hit the 3D, the 1D, and that was it. And it was just like, oh, I was hoping that this told more of a story of Grayson and Austin, because it's been kind of like this like precarious, magnanimous situation where they've been together, but they're kind of on each other's nerves. The fans really want to see Theory be a face. It seems like Waller's a great heel. Not that I want everybody to split up. Yeah, but these two, I think it fits.
Austin Theory would be a good face.
Absolutely. And I just feel like this fits here because the fans want the change, and they're not really doing anything with these two either. So the feud would be good for them to face off at Mania.
This feels like Vince McMahon booking this, because some weeks it's like they like tease it, then they take a break from the teasing the breakup thing for a few other weeks, and then it's just on.
If they were going to tease anything, it shouldn't have been this match. They should have said, the Usos are reuniting. Give that a week to make a big deal of it. Oh, my God, they haven't tagged together, as it's just a straight team sense. Highlight that. And then, I know they said it eventually on commentary, but that should have been advertised. The hey, look at this. We have a surprise. Who's going to be his partner? Like, obviously it's his brother, but it shouldn't have been a wasted moment. That's a Tony Khan feeling here.
For sure. Speaking about breakups, I think last week should have been the week for breakups. You should have had Grayson turn on Austin. Cena broke up, and then you should have had Finn or Dom, whatever way you do it, turn on the other. I think
I don't know about Judgment Day. That I don't agree with you there, but I see what you're going for. But as far as the first, not the latter, I agree with. Austin Theory. Them two, we get the splits, let Austin enact revenge for Grayson attacking him, and that's the Mania match. And that would be a good match, and it would at least build to something. I'm not the guy that's like, oh, turn everybody heel and break up every tag team. That's not the instant go-to answer here. But legitimately, I'm just like, hey, these guys, they're not getting the same reaction they once were, and there's really nothing for them as a tag right now. And especially on the Raw side, where tag team wrestling is all but dead. The Viking Warriors, Raiders, Machines have not been seen in weeks at this point. I think since they won the damn things. So
this has to do with Austin Theory. Do you think Vince McMahon watches or no?
No, not regularly. I think he consumes clips or whatever people show him, but I don't think he's. I imagine it would I would love to know what he thinks about Cena turning heel, but I can't picture him actively watching. I think it would be too difficult for him not to be involved. I
want to know what he feels about is how Triple H books Austin Theory. He must hate that, because Austin Theory was his next golden boy.
It was, and then Vince ruined him, and a big chunk of that was because wrong time, not wrong place, wrong time. Go ahead.
when Vince was gonna first see Austin Theory, I think we all knew Vince would like him right away, just the look of him. I think when everyone knew once Vince got a look at Austin Theory, he would be on board. But
Absolutely. We got another chosen one scenario, and just like he failed Drew, I feel like he failed, Theory here as well. I can say that because they had him get the Money in the Bank briefcase and the match with John. It could have been a better run for Theory, and they kind of set him up to fail, being that his opponent was Cena.
You think he wasn't ready yet? Was that the
Not so much not ready, but the way they framed it, they really made him seem like, young boy on the come up that's just an asshole and doesn't know his place. He's still green and wet behind the ears. So,
what happened with Drew then? Because I know Vince loved Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, it was just that he was the IC champ. The fans didn't take to him the way he was being presented. He ended up falling. He was tag champ, I believe, with Kofi or something. He had like a small run, but then he went ahead and got involved with the 3MB stuff and was a comedy joke act for years until they split. He got fired, and when he left at that point, he reinvented himself essentially. Went as Drew Galloway with his, obviously couldn't be McIntyre, but he changed his he changed his look. He put on a fuck ton of muscle. I mean, he went from looking like Ludwig Kaiser to essentially a machine at this point. It's insane.
Then Vince liked then because he already liked the original Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. That always amazes me too, like what the human body can go through. Looking back at like me being 600 plus pounds and looking back and seeing like what Cody looked like in WWE for so long. And then when he comes back, it's like they're not the same people. The muscle you put on, the definition, the all of it isn't stunning. Karrion Kross is another one. He's always looked great, but like his physique recently is so impressive.
The one I'm skeptical about is AJ Styles. I don't know. I think he might be on some of the juice.
Yeah, exactly. And could be. I don't know. WWE's got a very strict thing, but regardless, they left, they built them bodies up, and they look fucking beefy, and it fit better with their characters, too, because they had, I mean, it's not all looks, but it's certainly, that's a huge element. Wrestling is very, very much so appearance-based, and people judge based on those appearances, and the way they reinvented themselves was great.
Are they still strict on the steroid stuff to make yourself jack?
Oh, absolutely. You can't, I mean, they're testing in such a way now, like they follow you to the bathroom, and they do blood tests and urine tests. You're not using a fake penis and cheating out the system here, like, what was his name? They were just talking about it in UFC the other day. He was going back and be like, I cheated this, I cheated that, I cheated this. He was admitting it. It was in the news. Somebody in the chat might know. Byron in the chat, Cutler, he said, looks like we're getting Liv and Raquel versus Bayley and Lyra. And I'm not going to dispute. I think that'd be good, but I much rather see Bayley and obviously Rox go ahead. Her and Perez have that match at Mania. And I want to see...
Yeah, the tag team match, Liv and Raquel versus Bayley and Lyra.
That's kind of teased. I mean, that seems like what we're probably going to get, but I prefer it being Sol, Ruka, and Zarya. Those two, fuck me. That was just the pairing of the century. They work so incredibly well together because of the dichotomy between their looks, their personalities, their profile, all of it.
My personal...
Even their style.
Lyra versus Liv for the IC title, women's IC title.
The problem is with her holding the women's tag titles, I don't want to see those be forgotten about again. We've seen those things hijacked how many times now where they just, hey, it's basically a decoration.
But they would be doing that for the women's intercontinental title, right? If they did Lyra and Bayley versus Raquel and Liv.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, and it seems like that wouldn't be the worst so long as they defend the belts. I just, again, Lyra now, she's not defending her mid-card title, so...
A lot of people are worried, I see.
That's why I'm not crazy about it.
I see a lot of the Liv accounts worried about Liv Morgan missing WrestleMania, which would be crazy with the year she's had. There's no way in hell...
She's not going to miss it all, and I don't see that happening whatsoever. And shout out to Gorilla Strong being the chatter in the Rumble side of things. Thank you for tuning in over there. Again, guys, if you like what we're doing here, hit us with a like. make sure you're followed, subscribe, turn on notifications. And like I said before, you also can see me guest hosting for podcasts on the Spaz Phoenix YouTube channel for the State of Wrestling. So that, as well as everything else, is in the description box down below. And in the chat, you can check out Twitter and the Rumble links. They'll both be featured there. As we were saying, though, my friend, yeah, I mean, I want to see the mid-card title defended. I don't want it to be forgotten about, and that's kind of an issue at this point. So, if she's doing the tag with Bayley, great. But what about the tag belts then, or what about the mid-card title? Any of it just needs to happen. And now my phone apparently is possessed and playing Fat Camp, so that's kind of funny, Shout out to the local guys over there. That's been one hell of a dramatic thing. Holy hell. Wings pushing his wife and a whole bunch of crazy shit. So next in Raw, after the Cena, I know we've only gotten so far through the intro, but we got Cena, Cody. This next moment, the package that they came up here was great. This was so perfect. It was hilarious. It was funny. El Grande Americano. They showed him it looked like all AI things put together. Like, this is the peak of wrestling's, just greatness. It was so funny. It was so damn good. The whole package was great as a young lad and how he comes up for it. So I think what they've done is other weeks it was not Chad. Obviously tonight for the match it was Chad, but I think they're going to have it where, it's not him, and they're going to kind of do this tease thing for a while. You're going to see both of them probably in the ring, the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other. You, me. And then I'm not sure who they're going to have for it. It would have been a good way to introduce Phoenix, I thought, but he's going to be on the SmackDown side of things. But this El Grande and Americano, I loved it. I loved the package. I liked the match that we got later on. So what'd you think about this little video that they put out on the Lucha Libre Legends?
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think this was some of the best parts of the show, honestly. I like the whole Americano. What do they call him again?
El Grande Americano. What is it? The Big American? As bad as my Spanish is, but so funny. And like they said, he disappeared. His peers became so jealous that he had to leave, and no one's seen him since. And it's great. So they say that, hey, Chad Gable, you've got, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee talking to them, and they're like, hey, whoever's under the mask, I don't know, but we want to face him. And they said it couldn't be Gable. He's got a doctor's note. He's sick tonight. So they said, why don't you face him, Dragon Lee? And he agreed, and we'll get that match in a bit. So I was excited for the setup here. Then we went ahead and we got the women's IC title match. We had Lyra Valkyria defending her newly crowned women's IC title against Raquel Rodriguez. It was okay. Lyra's impressive. I'm still not really crazed about Raquel. She works well with certain people, but when there's a size difference, I feel like she's not stumbles, but it feels like she's stuttering at times in her movement. Like, you see her because she's trying to work lighter. Like, she doesn't want to, be too powerful. So it looked like she was pulling her punches. Like when she took the Hurricanrana from Lyra, she went forward, and she on the outside, she takes her back through, and then all of a sudden she gets hit with a big boot. But it was like very flowery in a way. It didn't look like it had any type of oomph to it, any type of impact. What did you think about this match? Was there anything that stood out for you, or?
I thought it was a decent match. Nothing that stood out immediately, but
yeah, certainly not bad, but just like we said, very passable for Raw, and I feel like they should be out there giving us banger after banger, knowing that, one, they're overseas for Raw, and I know it's hard, you don't want to always over-deliver, but this is one of those scenarios where, it really should have been, hey, we're going nuts here, we want you guys to have a blast, and these are our top matches. Instead, this just felt very, almost like house show-esque. At the end, Lyra gets out of, she counters what is it, the Tiana bomb or whatever, and we go ahead and she just gets out of it, counters, and gets the pin, and that's it. Gets a 3 count. So again, not anything to really like, write home about, but it was okay for what it was. Then we got Adam Pearce in the ring, and he was basically going on saying that Rhea, she can't have the match. It doesn't work that way. All 3 come out, and they basically, it leads to bickering and all this stuff. And Rhea says, all I want is my rematch. And Belair, she's like, you know what? You can wait until after WrestleMania when I'm champion. And that's when they start to fight again. And then Io slaps them both doing the pie face thing, pushing into their face. And Adam gets really bad now, and Pearce starts, enough, all right, fine. You'll get your rematch with Io next week. And the winner of that match will defend the title against, Belair next week. He's like, all right, everybody with it? So I guess they're going to, I'm all but sure it'll still be a triple threat match. There's going to be shenanigans, and they're attacking each other afterwards. You got Io Sky. She's basically the one to stand tall for a little bit, you thought. And then, oh, look at that. It ends up being Bianca. So Io gets a really good DDT, and that was impressive. And then Ripley got taken out with a big clothesline, sent to the outside, and that's when Belair got clotheslined as well, and then she got hit with that, Hurricane Rana, as I said, on Rhea. So it was like, okay, cool. But Bianca tries to do the KOD, and then she basically takes Io and drops her onto Rhea at ringside. I was like, all right, they're trying to make everybody look strong here, and there's just certain problems and flaws here. One, the elephant in the room is Jade. Like, all of that story feels unresolved just because Bianca was like, oh, I'm not involved. Naomi did it, so I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. It's everybody else's fault. So it just doesn't seem done. It's not wrapped up. It's not, with a little bow and having the plot hole there. I know it's not massive, but it's just like, it feels like Bianca really doesn't, not that she doesn't deserve, but it's just, it's not fitting well with the match and everything. They shouldn't have had Io take the title, in my opinion. They should have had the match being those two facing off at Mania. We're going to get the triple threat more than anything, but some people are like Byron said, watch, Bianca Belair is going to ref the match, and, hey, all right, that wouldn't be the worst either. You could do the tag match with Bayley and Lyra as partners on night 1. Night 2, you can do Bayley versus Lyra. That's interesting as well, and or if they're partners and then they face each other on night 2, that adds drama and intensity. So yeah, that's a really good match, and that would work as face versus face. I'd be all about that. Anytime you guys have any ideas and want to play Armchair Booker with me, please do so in any of the chats, and I'll go ahead and check it out. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. I genuinely, I like that one. That could work well. So the first night, they don't quite get it, and that could build up the story and tension of night 2. Like, oh, Bayley messed up, and that cost Lyra, and now there's a little bit of something extra spicy to that match. Could be good, though. All in all, I am curious to see how they get this back to a triple threat. More than likely, it'll end up being just, hey, the match gets thrown out due to interference, DQ, whatever, and now it'll end up being the triple threat again. So I know we have time. We've got about 4 more weeks of Raws and SmackDowns to get through, and things have to be, happening.
With the build, how slowly it's going, I would pick up the pace, I would free up a whole draft or brand split. Whatever.
Yeah, I think they need to pick up the pace about quite a few things. I mean, really, there's quite a lot here that needs to be accentuated and needs to be handled and just like I said, capitalized on. And I don't know why.
Let everyone just go on every show. Just fuck it and just build stuff so you need the builds back to back to back to back, especially SmackDown. I would have Raw Superstars on SmackDown because they have 3 hours now, which I think that's done bad for SmackDown. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I think.
And that could work.
I mean, they something because I like these matches that they're doing. Like the matches aren't the issue; it's just the build. I think.
Yeah, it's not the matches, and it's not the end of the end goal. It's everything on the way. It's the journey on the way there. I know at Mania we're gonna get some badass matches and everything the way it goes, but
Triple threat women's match is gonna be great. But it just makes no sense. People are right; it makes no sense. It's not that Rhea shouldn't get a rematch. I get people's argument. If you see the Liv fans on Twitter, it's like, why isn't she getting one too? Like, I think all of that's just.
That causes a lot of issues, honestly, because of how they have essentially, for so long we had it built in. It was a total, non-factor. No matter what happened, you are going to go ahead and get a rematch. That was Vince's law, and that was how it worked. No matter what.
Which I think that was a good idea of Vince's. Because
I like that. The champion should for a while. So if they want to get rid of it entirely, be like, oh, you lost, you don't get another shot, you have to earn it again. Fine, but they can't cherry pick and have some days this works, some days that works, this doesn't work, this does work. All these different varying issues. They need to be consistent and either set and announce to fans, let them know, hey, we do not allow rematches for titles, or we do, and stick to it. And I know they. Go ahead, yeah.
That's one thing Vince does better than Triple. I think with the consistency there, because that was a Vince law, like you said.
Yeah,
that happened. The champion always had to get a rematch.
Triple H tends to avoid being specific because he genuinely likes to have those fallouts for him. Is it the little escape, pods built in? So if he doesn't say one way or the other with rematches. And next week you do get a rematch for the title you lost. And next week another challenger loses and doesn't get a rematch. Hey, there's no set law, so I can do as I want.
Yeah.
And
I think just to call it how it is, because which is weird because you see Liv still making fun of the three of them, Io, Bianca, and Rhea, right? Like she makes fun of all still. So she's still involved with them. She's still involved with Jade, So if you want to make everyone happy, just make it a fatal four-way between Liv, Bianca, Rhea, Io, and everyone can stop fighting because the Liv, Bianca, Rhea, Io fan bases all are going at it. So everyone happy and make it a fatal four-way.
Exactly. Yeah. Make it all, in a nice little bow. Wrap it all up and do it together. I don't disagree. That's certainly how I thought it would have went. And I mean, I like the idea of the four-way. I would have had Jade be attacked by Bianca, but Naomi was not realized she was set up. Something, it didn't make sense to keep everybody here as a face, because Rhea, Io, and Bianca, they're all faces. So it's definitely, root for who you want to win. But there's no bad guy in this scenario, so it's difficult.
Perfect to add Liv in because Liv, I think, does perfect with the heel persona.
Yeah.
It's night and day with her. See her from 2 years ago to now. Holy shit, has she?
Yeah, oh my God, she's changed drastically. And that's kind of the thing, too, that I am liking, ironically enough, about this heel turn with Cena. It's the fact that, oh shit, we haven't gotten anything from him. New music, new look, because he said, I put a clueless kid on blast, and his poor, pathetic face was everywhere. WWE posted it, and you all loved it. And he was right. I want to take it away from you guys. I don't want to give you the opportunity to have the things that I used to present to you before. I want to have, a moment with my real fans, but then I realized I don't have any. You guys never gave me all your loving support that truly, truly mattered. Instead, you all treated me like, So, again, the you people thing, but...
The kid wasn't even there, and he's still making fun of him.
That's forever going to live on, just like the Miz girl, and... we will get some of this to forever stay on the internet. That's for damn sure. Like I said, having all these people be faces and what we're getting, not crazy about it, but it is what it is. It's still better than the alternative to years past where there either was just women, men thrown together. Oh, we got to get everybody involved. So there's the Andre the Giant. And at least they're actually trying to have everyone have a story. Even if they're not the greatest, I appreciate the effort. It, like I said, it's not a perfect product by any means, but it
Don't
is
they do
still
a
very enjoyable.
women's battle royal now too? Don't they do one for them now, or was that
I
just
I'm not sure because they had mentioned both at one point. I don't know if there's going to be anything on a pre-show. They haven't mentioned like the Andre or anything in that vein so far. So
the recent years? They did the Andre battle royal on SmackDown, right?
yes,
They
they
call
did that
it,
as like the kickoff show for SmackDown, WrestleMania weekend, and I didn't think that was a terrible idea. So they
nowadays
definitely have it do something.
the SmackDown and Raw before WrestleMania, or is it after? They call like Raw WrestleMania, SmackDown WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They do that. Get show now.
Yeah, the SmackDown after the Raw after, and they've had some really cool things as we've mentioned before too, and it kind of only keeps getting better. So I'm excited with some of the build. Not everything is perfect, but there are things that I am still enjoying, and I'm not negative on the Cena and Cody things. I'm still intrigued. I want to know why. Why did you? I just want them to pick up the pace a little bit. We had multiple weeks where there was no Cena. Then we get Cena, we get that promo, and then now we just get kind of rinse and repeat again. So it's in a murky territory, but it's still not a failure.
They need to pick up the pace soon on the Cody and Cena thing, because like you said, you want a few weeks without Cena. Now, like, he's not even discussing the main key people involved, like The Rock, Cody Rhodes. He's not even bringing up that much. He's just picking apart the fans over and over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not wrong at all. It's I mean, they can pick certain things apart and that'll be okay, but they just
just to show, yeah, I'm heel, even though he said I'm not babyface, I'm not a heel.
Yeah.
But like, I get the first week doing that, like just showing them, yeah, I'm done with y'all. That was good, but this week you shouldn't have done that. This should have been more about Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, exactly.
And he still didn't say anything to Cody Rhodes.
No, not at all. So, and like I said, Cody not wanting to just wring his neck, just goozle him and throttle him till he's out of air. And we've seen Cody have that edge. He hasn't been that, I don't want to say ideal, but that prototypical stereotyped babyface where, like, above all else, I do what my morals demand. No, we've seen him, use weapons and get gritty and to fight. So to see him not is just very unbecoming of Cody, and it doesn't really align with his character. I like I said, I'm not hating on it. It's been enjoyable. It's there's a little bit of trepidation here, well, correctly so, but we'll again see what we get in the next few weeks. Also, we went ahead and next part 2 of my favorite thing on Raw, we got the follow-up by actually getting the match. That's right, the one, the only, El Grande Americano. He goes ahead and he's taking on Dragon Lee. Very straightforward, Chad Gable acting as a luchador type of match. Yeah, good action. He went up top and he goes for this big moonsault, and then he lands on his feet, and so he's just really showing off. If it is Chad, which we knew it was in this regard, but however they're going to tell the story, I think they're going to say, oh, that's not him, have a red herring, and oh, look, it's not me. And so it's funny to have that little bit. They even did a nice trio woe, and they had him hanging upside down with a turnbuckle, smacking the shit out of him, and that was cool. We got a really great "This is awesome" chant after that, and all of a sudden, Mr. El Grande Americano leans up and he rips off Dragon Lee's mask while he was going for a big suplex and takes the mask, slide it. So Dragon Lee shoves his face into the mat and trying to cover, and that's when Americano gets the ankle lock and gets a submission win. So good comedy, done well, protected Dragon Lee with the loss here by, the mask being taken off and not wanting to disrespect his family, his heritage, the lineage of luchadors by showing his face. So Rey Mysterio was talking recently in interviews, and he actually said that when he unmasked in WCW and stuck by his word, he received death threats from loyal fans down in Mexico. People wanted him just so not great that that exists, and that tribalism and honor of heritage still exists today. So that's a great spot for heat, and especially watching TNA Impact doing their stuff over in El Paso, Texas recently for their tapings the last few weeks. We had Chavo come back and get treated like a god. So, the luchador scene is alive and well. It's just AAA and a few others aren't exactly thriving like they were. So I like this. I like the story that we've gotten so far. It's been funny. They've managed to subvert some expectations here, and I like Chad Gable a lot. He's very funny. I saw the comparisons people on Twitter were making, like to what's the luchador there? Hologram and the girl, Feel the Wrath. What's her name? Feel the Wrath from Australia. Harley Cameron.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she did the silly thing with like Harley Graham and all that. Like that's kind of what this feels like, but I like it. I'm curious to see where it goes. They got me, so it's fun. I'm enjoying it, and what do you think? Do you think it's just going to be unmasked as Chad Gable, or do you think it's going to be like kind of how I'm thinking, a bit of hijinks, a Scooby-Doo mystery?
I'm gonna go with like how you're saying it, like it's gonna be a hijinks, Scooby-Doo mystery kind of thing going on. I think it would be just unmask him and it's Chad Gable. That would just be ruin the fun of it. I think you need to play it up more. Maybe it's not Chad. I think you still like because at the Madison Square Garden show was it right?
Yeah,
where he was talking. And then the guy was being dragged out by security, right?
Yes, yeah, that was the MSG show you were at.
All right, okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like they've had these little things and be like, "Oh, see, that wasn't me," and he had a doctor's note this time, and
yeah,
so
like he was acting like he was all sick and stuff.
It was funny, and I popped for it. It made me laugh. So I need a good laugh every now and again. I like comedy. That's why I said I was a big fan of Joe Hendry. Growing up, my first like music that I really listened to was a lot of like parody stuff. I loved Weird Al and I loved soundtracks as a young kid. I started off like, I remember like 3 and 4, I used to have my tape recorder and I would tape songs off the radio. I loved the Chili Peppers and Weird Al. I was a strange child. And then I got big into Star Wars. But yeah, Weird Al and I've never gotten to see him live. I've seen a bunch of his performances, obviously, filmed and DVDs and YouTube and whatnot. And the man, is so beyond talented, it's disgusting. But that's what Hendry reminds me of. He's able to be funny in different parameters and do a great deal of hard work in the sense of comedy, because comedy and wrestling can easily go awry, and it's not for everyone. So to make people enjoy themselves, have fun, laugh, and take something that is ridiculous and shouldn't be taken serious, and then making it ridiculous is difficult. So hopefully everybody followed that. Something ridiculous turned serious, and then from serious turned ridiculous again. We're on the thought train. Next, we got CM Punk, Cody. He came out and he basically said there'll be an old-fashioned contract signing. And he's like, oh, I thought it would be here tonight. And he's like, that's why I'm here, but nobody else is here. So neither of you can beat me without the other man's help. And, I brought you into the business. I can't be wait to be the one that takes you out because I'm the best in the world. And mic drop. A good promo, but again, on a show where we have a lot of like what feels to be repeats, this is just copy and paste what we got previously with Punk in his promo. He's delivered it well. It was impassionate. The fans ate it up. He had that amazing line, said that, I work with children, and obviously leaning towards the elite joke there. And then he also talked about, basically Rollins having just a continued meltdown because I am just totally eclipsing him and casting a shadow over him since, his entire career. It makes sense. But he's also threatening, hey, your wise man, as he winks, is not just your wise man. He's mine too. So interesting. I hope that is not the favor. If the favor was, oh, you have to be my wise man, not Roman's, I get it. I mean, that could be decent, but they're gonna have to sell us on it, and it's gonna be. I don't know. If anybody can do it, it's those four. I mean, certainly Punk and Heyman on the mic can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman wearing white gloves, as old as that simile is. But for a shit comparison, it works. I mean, they're going to be able to sell ice to Eskimos. Heyman's got it. He's got the gift of gab, and Punk's got the gift of jab. Between the two of them, something good's coming. But what do you think the favor is from Paul Heyman that he owes Punk? What do you think it's going to be? Any idea?
I'm not sure what it could be exactly, because like Paul Heyman doesn't have like any stroke to get him into matches, right? He doesn't have that kind of power.
Yeah. So and Roman not having a title, or being he's a tribal chief, but not being in that position anymore where he can make claims and make matches and delegate. And so what could you get out of it? That's why the more we kind of rope it back and reel it in, we're seeing like, oh, it might just be, hey, I'm just going to be Punk's wise man. And that could be the favor. And it could work. It could fuck with Roman's head to the point where it breaks him. They just...
permanently, or for the match itself?
I'm imagining for Mania. I don't think it would be permanent, but permanent could be something else too. I mean, what if he steals him outright?
Because you can, maybe they want it. I was going to say, I guess you could, because Paul Heyman, I think, fits best as a heel manager. Because he's right now, he's a good guy, right? Paul Heyman.
He's supposed to be, but it feels like Roman's still a heel. That's the problem here too.
Yeah,
it's like,
but like he's still like the same character heel, but he just aligns more with the good guys now. He just like teams with Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sammy. Like he's
absolutely.
I don't understand that with him. Is he? I don't
really get it either. I've been confused. I mean, it's not a great scenario, and I mean, they've done this recently, like I said with Roman. We mentioned it earlier, that the Roman problem, and he never changed on screen to redeem himself as a face. He didn't go and make amends and apologize for all the wrongdoings and try and honor everything that he once stood for and then ruined. So he didn't have a redemption tour himself where he was making up for all the things that he messed up on. He just came back and kind of did his thing. So it's not bad, but they got a big job here to finish out. And Calvin in the chat, Houston, said, why is it that Theory keeps taking the pins? Do you think it's a vendetta against him? I don't think so. I think that this is the intended thing, because I feels like, and again, this is just a guess, but it feels like they're intending to turn Theory face, and that'll kind of be the thing of like, hey, I keep trying, you let me down. I think it's going to play into the story, because it's happened so many times now that I think they're being consistent about it. Because I will say this, whether you agree or disagree with Triple H's booking, everything on screen is done with a purpose in mind. It might get changed. It might not be referenced again, but he does things intentionally.
Triple H has a reason for why something happens on TV. Like everything you see on TV has a reason.
Absolutely. And, we still have the Liv Morgan and Finn Balor story hanging over our heads. We don't know what else is to come with that.
What's your prediction? Is she really with Dom, or is she?
I think she's with Dom, but I think she's going to end up turning on, obviously on the Judgment Day. And I could see her, I mean, she turns on the Judgment Day and sides with Finn and screws over Dom. That could be something. That could be good.
But I think like the Liv Dom thing, I think that sells like the merchandise they have. I think that's. I don't.
Maybe Finn tries to get her to screw Dom, and instead she screws him, and because you don't want to turn her face either. Like there's not yet, anyways, and there's more miles in the tank with them being heels. Dom gets great reactions, and I think he's going to get added to the match for Mania for the IC title, it seems.
Liv and Dom have that same thing with Rhea and Dom. Rhea got cheered, Dom got booed. I think it's the thing with Liv and Dom, right? Because Liv gets pretty well receptions when she comes out. She gets cheered, I believe, for the most part.
She does, and especially being in the women's tag teams too.
So, like, are they going to turn her babyface because she gets cheered a lot, or?
That
Is
I'm
that
not sure of, and that's kind of an issue as well. So,
because she plays the heel, but they always cheer her anyway?
yeah, exactly. And then, my friend, we basically got the end of the night. We got a really good match here, and
Brum.
we had Braun Breaker and Penta. We knew essentially that it was going to be some bullshit, that there was going to be problems, and it would end in some type of fuckery, kerfuffles. They had a good match, and Breaker's so fast and so impressive and so clean
I
with
don't
what
know
he
how he's
does.
that fast. I don't even know if it should be legal how fast he is.
I totally agree. I mean, that awesome moment at the one point in time where he did just like the simple shoulder blocks and he's just ramming into him, but the way he does it with such fierce intensity, that's what I love. So he's getting a great reaction now. And again, this is more like a face versus face thing, but people are really behind Penta, but they still like Braun, and he finds a way to get them just into the match. Penta goes up top after hitting a Hurricane Rana before, and he grabs his way up there, and oh my God, he gets countered by Braun, who hits a Frankensteiner and gets a great near fall. And he finally takes the strap downs. The crowd goes nuts. He's going to hit the spear, and then Dom's on the apron. And he goes to attack Dom, and then Carlito gets up and gets pulled in, gets speared, but then Dom hits him. Now the match is thrown out. And Dom's hitting him, and Finn comes out, and Finn's attacking him, and Finn got an abusive chair shot on Braun the first time. If you go back and you listen to that smack, I wish I could pull it up. Incredible how hard that happened. And
That's another thing for people that call wrestling fake. Come on, like those chair shots, I'm sure fucking hurt.
yeah, the sound of it. It was so just bam. It was brutal.
I'm glad the way they did it, like so no one, because no one could lose in that situation because they want to keep.
Absolutely. My note app died before and it didn't save, so I was trying to go back through and check. And I usually take extensive notes as much as I can, so I kind of had to like go by memory for some of it, and usually I'm a bit more exact, but I think that was kind of it. Dom went ahead and it looked like Finn might be pissed and hit him with a chair, but then he handed him the chair. Dom got a good hit, and they all just kind of stood over Penta and Braun, and that was it. So
and a few times they had like Finn, like it was looking like he was gonna hit Dom with the chair. Like he was looking at Dom a few times, like aiming the chair at him. I don't know if that was a few teasers or whatever, but they had Finn do that a few times.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
I mean, the tickets were so goddamn expensive to this, and that was the problem. Imagine you spend all this money. I hope they got Drew or Joe something afterwards. I'm trying to check on the Raw report side of things, but holy hell! I mean, they should have had some type of big ending. You end off with a Judgment Day beatdown. What is this, 2023 again? It felt lacking, right? So this leaves things open. Rey Fenix is premiering on SmackDown, but who's to say he can't come over and help his brother? I initially think, as I said with Spaz on the State of Wrestling, that they're intentionally keeping them apart for a while, build up Phoenix more as a single star while Penta continues to shine, and then eventually their paths will converge and they'll be a great tag team. Because now you're getting multiple moments, pops, all these things out of it. You get the initial with Penta coming in, then with Phoenix coming in. Now you get them both to just be down the same hallway in a backstage thing. You're going to get a great reaction. Then when you finally have them team, Liz said to me before Raw even, started that, hey, it sounds like we're getting Penta, Braun, Dom, and Finn in a fatal four-way type idea at Mania. And we had all mentioned, that was a couple of our predictions too. Like, hey, what's going to happen here? Are more people going to get involved? So I wouldn't doubt it if they had those four and added Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee to it. They could do a ladder match with all these people.
I would do that, and maybe Chad Gable too, maybe.
Yeah, the U.S. title, LA Knight's going to have to take on somebody good. I don't want to see that be a multi-man as well. If the SmackDown tag's going to be a multi-man, I just want to see it,
Like on one of our shows a few weeks ago, I think a lot of these matches are going to be multi. because
It
they
certainly
usually,
seems that way. Yeah.
like the last few years, I'm looking at here. The last few years, for the women's tag team titles, they done like a women's showcase, and like had a bunch of women's tag teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I
Do
go
they
back
still
to the
do?
fan edit, but yeah, most of these out of what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 14 matches here. And, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Off
6,
topic
7.
a little bit.
So half of them, 8, 9. So it's like 9 out of 14 right now aren't multi matches, but a couple could be changed. So,
They still
having
do.
they
My
could
bad.
they could still add it. Oh, don't apologize. Like I said, just come on out with it and we'll talk. That's all there is to it, especially on here.
With Raw, they do dark matches still because I'm seeing a clip. But I guess there was a 6-man tag team match after the show: CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Rey Mysterio versus Dom, Finn, and
Oh, nice. So at least they got to see something good to go home with.
And I guess there was something with CM Punk and Liv Morgan, Raquel and Cody Rhodes were holding CM Punk and Liv Morgan back because they were pretending they wanted to fight each other, I guess.
Okay, that's fun. So I appreciate that. It is just I want. It felt a little not Mania Road to WrestleMania esque. I was really hoping we saw, like, hey, what are we gonna get here? And it just it wasn't bad. Like I said, maybe like a 6.5 today, even a 7-ish. Which again, people think is failing, but it's not. It's the 3 or 4 is bad. This is certainly not bad. It's one of the ones that's hard to rate. But next week we've got some big matches too. So this Friday on SmackDown, thank you so very much. Look at that. This Friday on SmackDown we got LA Knight versus Braun Strowman for the U.S. title. That's interesting. We don't really know what we're doing with Big Braun. He could win the title. It's possible.
Another multi-man match. I could see LA Knight, Braun Strowman, Jimmy Uso, all that fucking in there.
And then if they do that for both mid-card titles, though, that's a little underwhelming, especially seeing the Gunther, Sami Zayn, amazing epic we got the year before.
Oh, that's a class.
Yeah, so...
For WrestleMania, I always go back and watch some good matches. That will probably be one of the ones I go back and watch.
I've gone back and rewatched that twice, actually, throughout the year, and it's so poetic in how it was delivered. You had everybody hyping up Sammy and gave him this big entrance send-off. Chad's there, and they're like, come on, buddy. Owens, everybody's pumping him up. He gets out there, and he can't do it. And then finally, he just pulls out all the stops, gets that brain buster, sets up, and gets the pinfall, and just emotional. Great.
I like that because that led into night 2 with Kevin Owens, because when Kevin Owens is going out, Sami Zayn was right there for him as well, hyping him up.
So it's cool to have that, camaraderie shown, and now that they're killing each other, we're going to get Orton, obviously. We already had the Sammy of it, but does Sammy play into Orton? We don't know.
The thing about Kevin Owens is he's a logical heel. He makes sense with what he's talking about with everything, because what he brought up with Sami Zayn when Cody Rhodes was going to smash his head through a ladder, he didn't do anything but watch. But when Roman Reigns, the odds were against him in the Rumble, and he had to run down and save his ass.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens brings up good points on why he's attacking these people. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. Like, you go and team with.
You nailed it, my friend. A good villain, if you can justify his actions even a little bit, even just a little bit, really, like I said, adds to it overall, because then your villain is not just a lunatic out for world domination. They're there because, hey, they want to go ahead and have it. So interesting with how it works. And, I'm all in all, I am happy with the Raw. It's been fun. But I wanted more, and I don't want to see, like we just mentioned on the SmackDown side. It's like, oh, well, now Sammy comes back and gets thrown into the U.S. title multi-man thing, like, and where else could he go if he doesn't get involved in the Orton Owens match, because he got taken out obviously by Owens. So if it's just like, I don't see a payoff that's great there. Besides Orton hitting the punt on Owens and sending him, an ambulance packing, that's pretty much the last thing that I see mattering. So,
Sammy's, what you would call a Raw after Mania appearance? Like, do they keep him off until after WrestleMania? Because I could see another, again, unfortunately, multi-man match with them, because
Yeah, because what did he do with Sammy until then? Really?
Sammy's also going to want Kevin Owens, and that's going to cause tension between Sammy and Randy, saying, no, he's mine, I'm going to get him, and that's going to cause tension between them, and it's just going to make it a triple threat match.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, it's like, I don't know really what more they could do for him at this point. That would, I don't know if anybody in the chat has a great idea, but honestly, I'm kind of at a loss of what they do with Sammy at this point. So he doesn't have any feud for him to really delve into and face. They're not going to make it a triple threat or a handicap for Owens, obviously, and Owens isn't going to find a partner suddenly. That doesn't really make sense. And the whole point of him is being a loner. So we might just not get Sami Zayn at Mania this year. And part of that is an unfortunate byproduct of they have stars. I mean, the fact that John Cena could turn heel happened because they have a guy that could replace Cena finally. They refused for so long because John was the guy, and there was no one else at the level he was. Even at his most hated, he was still the top merch seller. He was still the reason people were buying tickets in some regards because of the kids, the women, there were fans of him in mass, and it only got better as time went on because people started appreciating him more. And that's kind of the funny part too. John hasn't really had a negative reaction, I feel like, since like 2017, 18, around when he was like doing the WrestleMania, hey, I came out with, to challenge The Undertaker, and started being silly. Then the next year we got Thugonomics, and then people already loved his U.S. title run, open challenges. Before that really ingratiated him with the fans because they saw him face all sorts of people, and he was giving those people a chance to be on TV. Sami Zayn and others, that was great. Cody followed that playbook with the TNT title. That's how we got, Eddie and Starks and so many more. So I seen Cena then do the Firefly Funhouse. People really respected and loved him for that, and how he was so willing to completely eviscerate his own character in such a thoughtful and poignant way. And then we lead into, obviously, him losing against Theory and Solo, and he has put over, he lost to Roman, he has lost and lost and lost and lost and lost and lost and lost. And so you can't say he was using his golden shovel. You can't say he was burying other he was doing everything essentially as right as could be towards the fans. So that's why it's really intriguing that they're saying, like, you guys with this heel turn, when he hasn't been, like, the fans chant John Cena sucks just like you suck with Kurt Angle, because it's become like but they weren't doing it to be, it was just part of the allure of John Cena coming out in the arena. And no, Cutler, I don't feel like WrestleMania 40 was overhyped. I think it was just because it was built so big on the back of this bloodline multi-year title reign. Does Roman finally lose? Because a lot of people were convinced that Cody was going to get it. I mean, he could have lost. We could have had Roman still as champion, and I don't know if it would have been the worst thing. I wasn't crazy about him retaining, but think about it. How many times before did we like, oh, whoever's got this, and it didn't happen? Like WrestleMania 34 with Roman, where he didn't beat Brock. And I was like, what? Why have him back in this position again then? So right. I don't think it was overhyped. I think it was just built up as big as it possibly could be. I think that was the crux of it all. It was such a layered, like onions, magnanimous, massive story. So many people were involved. It was all encompassing. You had just so many different people affected. Everybody that was in War Games, was affected by the bloodline. How many people were tortured by Roman as he and the bloodline knocked down every competitor possible? So to see them finally be vanquished by your new conquering hero is about as big as it gets. And that's why the last 5 minutes or so to that, night 2 main event is like perfect cinema in terms of WWE. All the interferences, all the shenanigans, the kickouts, the ref bumps, the near falls, the near misses, the finale, the announcement with the quivering voice by Samantha, like every bit of it is just perfect. his mother being there and the tears and the emotion, the fans, it was why I love wrestling, epitomized in a perfect moment. So honestly, this Raw left a bit to be desired. This upcoming Friday on SmackDown, we've got Roman Reigns appearing. CM Punk will be there. This will be in London. We got Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest meeting face to face. We also have the Street Profits defending their tag titles against Pretty Deadly again, so that's interesting. This is pretty much as big as it gets for the O2 Arena, so hopefully they really deliver, but that card that's announced so far is not knocking it dead for me, that's for sure. And then we have Raw on the 31st next Monday, which again we'll be live for. It's got a special start time as well that day at 3 in the afternoon, not 4, because the UK side of things is 5 hours ahead. So we're getting the women's champion.
Hey, maybe I'm wrong. I thought UK was around Scotland time.
I think it's near that. I know they said it to be at 3 though. I think it's 5 hours, not 4. So.
What's that? Oh, my dad just said the clock's changing. UK.
That's what it is too. Their clocks are changing. They mentioned that on commentary too. So thank you, sir. See, your dad paying attention in the best way possible. So we got Cody and John on Raw the 31st facing off yet again. We have Jimmy Uso taking on Gunther. One thing I didn't mention tonight too, they had a little backstage segment after Jay and Jimmy didn't really beat down Gunther, but they stomped him. Jimmy slapped him, and
I saw a clip.
You saw the clip? Okay, that slap was brutal. I want to find. I'm gonna get the audio of it right here. I can't play the clip, but the audio, you can hear the slap. Such a perfect slap right here. Oh! Sounds like a whip crack. That is brutal.
Oh! He tasted that one.
One more time. I cannot express how giddy I was rewinding this over and over, because the sound of that slap, and they do it too, where you cup your hand, but that hurt, but it was near more the chin, not the ear. They know what they're doing, but damn, I wouldn't want to take that. So, we got John Cena trying to say that he wants to erase Ric Flair from our memories, but that's not what stood out. What stood out is that whip crack. Oh! Brutal. Absolutely love that, though.
Tasty.
That is tasty. So like I said, we got AJ and Logan face-to-face, Jimmy taking on Gunther in a match, Cody and John face-to-face again, and then we have Women's Championship being defended, so Io Sky taking on Rhea Ripley, and the special referee is Bianca. My guess, Rhea's about to win, and Bianca refuses to count. She attacks Bianca, and that's how we get the triple threat. That's my prediction.
Wait, Bianca's the special guest referee? Am I just
Yes. Nope, she is absolutely the special guest referee. I was a little confused by the segment, the way they said it, but they did confirm it on Twitter afterwards, because they mentioned it, but I wasn't sure exactly how that was working. But nope, she is the special guest ref. So
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, not exactly a great thing, honestly, but I know what they were going for, and they got time to kill, so they're going to have to go ahead and stretch it out a little bit more. But basically, I'm not crazed about it, but it works to get through another week. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but my guess is, honestly, we're going to see Bianca either not count or just not go ahead and be willing to let Rhea win, and then from there they'll beat the shit out of each other, and that will be that. So that's my guess. Any other comments or thoughts about Raw, my friend?
No, I think that we pretty much summed it up there.
We have. We've been live for quite a while, and I feel bad for Drew. Yeah, Nick B just said in the chat, poor Drew. I mean, the fact that we didn't get Drew, we didn't get Joe Hendry, I'm still heartbroken. I wanted to wave my hands from side to side. This crowd was so good. The Cody chants. I mean, all the European and overseas tours so far have been great, because of the fans. But I feel a little bit bad. This show was a little underwhelming, especially on the build to Mania. I hope that they, continue full steam ahead, but they just get a little bit more focused. Focus is the wrong word, but just down to brass tacks. They need to make things a bit more hyped here. Hopefully they're just kind of letting things wane for a couple weeks, and then as we get really close to Mania, we get these stellar knockout 10 out of 10 episodes to build us towards WrestleMania 41. I'm still looking forward to Mania. I'm still very excited, and we've got a lot along the way. We'll be live tomorrow night after NXT to cover what happens on NXT tomorrow. That's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to what's going on over there. Stephanie Vacour is defending her title twice tomorrow night, so that's interesting.
Great man.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a hell of a time. So she's taking on Jada Parker for the women's title, and then she's also giving Fallon Henley her rematch finally, as she's been bitching for weeks saying, "Where's my rematch?" Ava's like, "We'll get there, don't you worry." And then we also have Lexis King taking on Javon Evans for the NXT Heritage Cup. I think Javon might be winning that, so make sure you guys go ahead, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications if you're on YouTube, or make sure you follow over on Rumble or Twitch. I appreciate everybody and all the support. Thank you all so much. I really love NXT. I think it's going to be a great night. We got, Vacour opening and closing the show. No complaints there. They're going to be live, obviously, from the Performance Center. We're also supposed to get more of the builds for Stand and Deliver. It's getting to be about that time. And Stand and Deliver, for me, is always a standout. I'm really excited. WrestleMania weekend shaping up nicely. We don't have any matches yet officially announced, but we have a few buildings. So I think we might get Oba Femi and Trick one more time, and then Oba retains and Trick gets sent up to the main roster. Maybe we'll get a swan song from Roxanne as well. It seems like she's done, but just not yet. But overall, I mean, I'm very excited for all we have coming up. We've also got TNA. I think their next pay-per-view is Rebellion. That's going to be great as well. We'll be covering that. And, just keep going as time goes on. We've got Saturday night's main event after Mania to look forward to. There's just a lot cooking and a lot brewing. Anything else you wanted to add, my good man? I know we were kind of all over the place. We covered Raw about as extensively as we could, going a little over the 2-hour mark. Poor Spaz's audio is not going to like processing this one, but
I think we're all good, and I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, I'm happy you found out that the people at least got a good little bit of fun after Raw. So that was good that they had that tag match happen.
That's funny how they Cody Rhodes is holding CM Punk back, Raquel holding Liv back because they wanted to fight each other, I guess.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and then they go ahead and obviously trying to save Penta. So those Cody Rhodes, Punk, and Mysterio taking on Balor, Mysterio, and Carlito. So fun for the crowd there to see that and have that happen after they kicked it off. So that's a good go home, because you figure the last time they were there, Drew lost to Roman and Clash of the Castle 2023, 22. So
that was 20.
Pretty sure it's 22. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Because
but still,
that's when Solo debuted, right?
Yeah, he came out and got either debuted or I know he cost him that.
It had to be 22 because Solo was on WrestleMania 39.
Yeah. And we haven't seen what Alexa Bliss is doing. We thought that her and Liv were going to have a thing. Then we heard, obviously,
I was thinking.
Alexa Bliss was taken away from like WWE World and other signings around Mania weekend. She wasn't taken out of Mania, but we don't have anything official from her yet. So
like Liv, Dom, and Raquel were supposed to feud with the Wyatts, right, or something.
Something along with that. So we'll see. I think the Wyatt Six is making their return soon, but
her storyline boyfriend, isn't she dating Bo Dallas in real life? From what I heard.
Who, Alexa?
Liv.
Oh, Liv. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I remember during that. Sorry, Liv. I sent her the thing, and she saw it and liked the thing. So if you're listening, oopsie. But
hey, could be. I'm not sure. That's a interesting predicament. But
when she got arrested, I remember she called him.
Yeah, so it could be. Hey, you know,
Right.
out of all the love interests you could have, that's not a bad one to sight through. So that's
Yeah.
for damn sure. Well, my friend, please let everybody know where they can find you. Where can we go ahead and see more from my good friend Cody?
Judgment Day on Twitter and Cody _Onidi _316 on Instagram and every other fake account I have. And
Every other one under the sun that we can go ahead and get you
I,
to illegally harass other people. Absolutely.
you know, funny enough, okay, you know, like all the Judgment Day, I actually run their accounts.
You know, I figured as much. I thought that you were handling Finn's social media. See, here, I thought I had a good social media manager, but that wasn't the case. Take care, Coot the Loot, my good friend, man. Nah, yo. Hopefully you're doing good, bud. And thank you to everybody that tuned in the chat. Cody, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it greatly. Yeah. What's that, my friend?
The jig's up. I'm also running your account, too.
I knew it. See? I am not my own. I'm being controlled. My actions are not my own. My will is not mine. I'll just leave out the roads part and we'll just chant Cody for you. Cody, Cody. There we go.
Thanks.
So, but my friend, thank you so much. It's been a great time here with everybody. You guys have been great. I appreciate it greatly. Hopefully you all have a great evening and we'll see you live tomorrow night. That's right, we'll be there for NXT. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be there for the review, and then you can go ahead and see us also. This weekend, I will be guesting, as always, on The State of Wrestling, so you can go ahead and check us out over there on the Spaz Phoenix YouTube channel, and we'll have some more live events this weekend, so you're not going to want to head and miss that. You're going to want to tune in. Thank you all, as always. Like I said, subscribe, like, hit everything down below, and we hope to see you all soon. Stay sexy.